Hey Watch Fam, welcome to another edition of On the Bench. This is your host Ranch Racer of the Love and Watches podcast. We've got an exciting On the Bench for you today. We're going to be talking about some new announcements from Oris. We did mention a couple shows ago on the podcast about the new Calibre 400, which you see right here. And yes, those are not my hands. Those are your lovely host PG, Perpetual Girl's hands. But we do have the movement here in-house, and it happens to be an in-house movement. So this is the new Calibre 400, which we've spoken about. It was announced a few weeks ago, so I'm sure you guys have all seen the videos and heard all the information on it. But in brief, it is a brand new in-house movement from Oris with a 5-day power reserve, and that is due, as you can see there, we've got twin barrels, right? And they are set up in series, which gives you the extended runtime of the watch. So you're going from, if you look at one of their watches that uses a Sellita SW200 movement, you get about 38 hours of runtime, right? Whereas with this guy, you're getting 120 hours. So you could literally set it down on Friday, do your thing on the weekend, come back on Monday, put it on the wrist, and it's still ticking. So they've done a great job with this movement. As we mentioned on the show, it is a pretty sizable movement. There's no way of getting around that because you've got the twin barrels. But you can see the date wheel there right out at the edge. And PG, if you flip that back over, and you can kind of orient it. So there's been a lot of folks talking about how it looks like a bear. Mm-hmm. Right, and it does. I mean, you've got the two ears there with the main springs, the barrels, and then you've got their jewels, which could be eyes, and then you've got the rotor. Some folks have asked about the rotor, specifically around why it's not red, and we've spoken with Oris about that, and they wanted to set this movement apart, right? And I like it. I think it's very elegant. I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more decoration on the rotor, but and on the plates, but I think it's still a beautiful movement. They've done a real nice job with it. What do you think, PG?
I think it's really impressive, and we were fortunate enough to get the press kit with the virtual reality headset, so we could actually be inside the movement and see how it's put together. It's really amazing. That was very cool.
We've not done much virtual reality. But it was neat to be able to be inside the movement and see all the wheels and the parts being assembled as you're basically standing on the main plate. So it was very cool.
I got a little dizzy, but
the VR, yeah,
I stuck it out so I could experience it.
It's definitely a unique experience, and we will not be posting pictures. You guys have seen pictures on all the big blogs that are a little bit silly with the people with the glasses on looking up and all around, and we won't be posting any of those, but you guys get the idea. So that's the movement. But today is October 29th, 2020, and the really exciting announcement today is this. This is the first watch that houses the Calibre 400. This is the Aquis Date Calibre 400. Okay. Beautiful color. And this is just the first piece that houses this movement. I think they've done a really nice job. Pluses and minuses. Let's talk about this. So, pluses, I love the blue. It reminds me of the Carries Fort blue, and it doesn't come through great on the video, but it's this beautiful aqua color blue. There you go. So really nice blue. It's a 43 millimeter watch, so it's a big watch. It's got a ceramic bezel. If you look at it, and I think this is one of the minuses for me, is that it's very, very similar to the standard 43.5 millimeter Aquis. I believe the case is the same. It's got a new dial, right, to accommodate the movement. Some of the things that differentiate it. So if we look at the date window on the standard Aquis, and I'll see if I can throw a picture of a standard Aquis up, but on the standard Aquis, the date window is above the 6 o'clock index. Whereas with this movement, it's pushed out to the edge, so it basically becomes part of the 6 o'clock index, which is nice. And that makes room for the additional text on the dial. So text is the same as a standard Aquis, except it gives you the 5 days at the bottom. So let's go ahead and pop this off the holder and get it on the wrist so you guys can see what it looks like on my 7.5 inch wrist. Yep, we'll do that. Okay. So again, I have a 7.5 inch wrist. I can pull this off, but it's big. It is on the limit of what I would consider adding to my collection. It is a very big watch. Now, some things that they've done to help with that. If you look at the bracelet, you can see it's got a pretty radical taper to it. So it starts wide here at, I believe, 22. Although it's a custom bracelet, and I'll get into that a little bit more. But it tapers quite a bit. Now there's a negative to this as well, in that what happens when you do that, because it's a big watch. Didn't you weigh it? Mm-hmm. It's pretty heavy, but it's upwards of like 170 or 180 grams. So it's a heavy watch. But what happens when you taper, it does make it look and feel a little bit smaller, but it also reduces the weight under your wrist, right? So it makes it more top heavy, and it is a very, very heavy watch. Now, it's a tool watch. A lot of folks like that feel, that heaviness, but it definitely makes it a bit top heavy. So you need to wear, I have found I need to wear it a little tighter, because if it moves around, it tends to bang around a little bit and hurt. So you have to wear it pretty snug because of that top heaviness. You can see it's very thick. But overall, I think they've done a nice job. PG, I'd like to get your thoughts on this new watch.
Shall I also try it on for the... Can do that.
All right, so PG has a 6.25 inch wrist. It is a monster on her wrist, as you can see. So is this one that you would buy for yourself?
Well, this size of a watch for me is... It's actually too big, because the lugs are pretty far out to the edge of my wrist, and it's very heavy. It's a very heavy watch. The movement is heavy, the case is large. So for me, personally, I wouldn't, but I know there are some women who like to wear very large watches, but you can see the size difference between my Oris.
Yeah, so that's your 36mm Aquis Date. And obviously a big size difference between 36.5 to 43.5.
And mine is 104 grams, and the new one is 158.
Yeah, so pushing 160 grams. So definitely a heavy piece. Beautiful watch though. Again, the positives for me, I love the blue, beautiful blue, nice ceramic bezel, nice taper on the bracelet, very high quality bracelet. And let me see, I want to show show our viewers here some of the functions of the bracelet. So it does come with a diver's extension, which for us, if it was a smaller watch, it would be great, because we can share it, because PG can wear it like this with the extension closed, and then all I have to do is pop it out and it fits perfectly on my wrist. So you know, these were made for wetsuits, so you put the watch in over your wetsuit and you have to extend it. We don't dive, so obviously we wouldn't use it for that, but as you know, sharing the watch, that's kind of a nice feature. The second thing that they've done is this is going to be available with either this bracelet, which I believe is $3,500 US dollars, or on a rubber strap for $3,300 US dollars. So if you'd like to swap them out, it's pretty easy, right? You've got this. See if I can focus on it here. You got a little quick disconnect, and you just pop that open like that, and it pops right off. You can see these are, I guess, integrated lugs, so you can't just fit any type of band on here. You're kind of limited to what Oris provides, but they provide this nice steel bracelet, and then there's a black rubber strap that you can get with it. So really easy to swap those out, which is nice. You can see it does have a display case back, so you can see the Calibre 400 movement in there. And again, it would have been nice to have maybe a little more decoration, some perlage or something on on the bottom plate because it's a little bit plain, but I think it's still a very, very attractive movement. So guys, that's it. This is the new Oris Aquis Date Calibre 400. It's the first Oris piece with the new Calibre 400 movement, and I think they've done a nice job. PG, what do you think?
I think it's beautiful. We wore it for exactly 24 hours between the two of us. It was very easy to flip, back and forth with the diver extension tab. And I really think this is the type of watch that, with such a long power reserve, 5 days, it's going to be easy to grab this watch out of your watch box to wear on a regular basis, because it's going to already be set, and it's going to be accurate because we actually timed it, and it is actually within COSC certification.
It is. It was just on the, so it ran at +6 for 24 hours in normal wearing conditions. So yeah, it's within COSC specs. It's not COSC certified, as far as I know. There's nothing in terms of that on the press release or on the dial. Usually it'll say something, but yeah, it ran +6, so within COSC certification levels.
Yeah, I really feel like I think it's primarily, this is a watch for a man, and not 100%, but primarily. And I think it's going to be the type of watch that we've seen, like with our parents, with our dads, who have had a one-watch watch. It's that type of watch with the reliability, with really lovely design, and the fact that it has such a long run time without being, you can set it down for 5 days and go back on a Friday and put that back on for the weekend. So I personally find that the watches that I wear the most are sometimes watches that are still, that have the long standby, and I tend to grab that. So I think this is going to be a really easy watch for people to wear. So I think it's going to be a favorite.
Yeah, and just a couple more items. It does have a 120 click bezel, ceramic, with a ceramic insert. And I did test, one of the things that we do here at Love and Watches, we're big on lume. And we want that lume to last all night, especially if it's a tool watch. And I compare pretty much every watch I get in, whether I buy it or I'm reviewing it, to the Submariner, because that's one I wear at night. It lasts all night, just before sunrise. I can still read the time. And so I ran that test, put this on the nightstand last night, and it lasted all night. So fantastic job. It's a BGW9, so it's that blue lume that they use on their Aquis line. I think the bottom line, if you like the Oris Aquis, if you like big divers, you're going to like this. It does have a lot of shine to it. So, and because it's thick, this is the type of watch that you could end up banging into door jams and that kind of thing. There's a lot of polish, right? The edge links are polished, the center links are brushed, and then the bezel itself is polished. So lots of polish, lots of bling on this one. It's not one that flies under the radar. It's big, it's bright. But if you like a standard Aquis, that's basically what this is, with some small differentiators, right? Visually, and then you've got the new Calibre, but it's the same. It's a 300 meter, so same as the regular Aquis. It's basically the same Aquis case. So if you like the Aquis, but you want that 5-day power reserve with a 10-year warranty and the anti-magnetism that you get with the Calibre 400, and you're willing to pay the difference, right? Because you're looking at $2,200 USD for a standard Aquis 43.5 millimeter versus $3,500, so a $1,300 uplift for the in-house Calibre 400 movement. But
it's got a 10-year.
But with that 10-year warranty and 10-year service guarantee, I mean, this is going to be a tough one to beat. They've done a great job. It's going to be interesting to see what other types of watches they put this movement in, because again, you're limited on the size, right? Because here's your movement and there's your watch. So you're not going to get this into a much smaller watch than this. Maybe trim a millimeter off if it's more of a dress watch with a thinner bezel. You could maybe get away with a slightly smaller, but this is a big watch movement. So maybe we'll see some different versions of this movement that are a little bit smaller, but still give you maybe 3 to 4 days power reserve. I don't know, but in general, I think Oris has done a phenomenal job. This is not one we'll be adding to the collection. Again, it's right at the edge of the size limit for what I like, and it's definitely too big for PG, but a lot of you guys out there like the big divers. You are going to love this watch. They've really done a good job. So folks, that is it. the new Oris Aquis Date Calibre 400. Hope you enjoyed it.